They say fire consumes all, but what if there was something fire couldn't destroy? Something that refused to be erased, burning, turning into ash, only to rise again. This isn't just a story about a bird that lives forever. It's about cycles, endings and beginnings, woven into tales that span continents. Today we're peeling back the layers of an ancient legend, from the deserts of Egypt to the mountain forests of Asia. This tale refuses to disappear, like embers hidden in the ashes. Join us as we explore the mysteries and meanings behind the phoenix. Welcome to Podcast Folklore, where we journey into the mystical, magical and sometimes eerie world of folklore. Before we get into today's episode, all I ask is that if you like our content, to give that subscribe button a push and hit the notification bell to get more folklore in your world. In ancient Egypt, they call it the Banu bird. But it was more than just a bird, it was a creature woven into the very fabric of life and death along the Nile. The Banu represented the cycles of rebirth Egyptians saw around them each year, the rise and fall of the river, the life-giving floods and renewing of the crops. To them, this bird symbolised the eternal rhythm of creation, and in fact it was closely associated with the god Ra, the all-powerful sun god. The Egyptians believed the Banu lived near the Heliopolis, the city of the sun, a sacred city where Ra himself worshipped. Legend had it that the Banu would make itself a nest near the temple of the sun, perched by the sacred waters, and this wasn't just any water. Egyptians believed that these waters were connected to the primordial ocean, Nun, from which all life emerged. To the Egyptians, the Banu didn't simply symbolise the rebirth of individual lives. It was tied to the very act of creation itself, the moment the world was born out of chaos. But the Banu was not immortal. It didn't merely vanish when it reached the end of its life. Instead, it created a nest of fragrant woods, rich with myrrh, frankincense, and other sacred resins. Once the nest was complete, the Banu would set it aflame, embracing its own fiery end. Enveloped in the flames, it was reduced to ashes, and yet from those very ashes a new Banu would emerge. This act of self-sacrifice and rebirth was central to the Egyptian understanding of time, a cycle of destruction and renewal, always beginning again. In some versions of the myth, after the Banu bird rose from its ashes, it would carry the remains of its former self to the Heliopolis and offer them to the sun god Ra. This act of devotion was thought to renew Ra's power, connecting the Banu bird directly to the cycle of the day and night, the eternal journey of the sun across the sky. This same circle was said to mirror the journey of the human soul after death, which, like the Banu, could rise again in the afterlife through the blessings of the gods. There are echoes of the Banu story in Egyptian funeral practices as well. Some scholars believe that the construction of tombs and funerary rites were inspired by the Banu's mythical nest of fragrant woods. The very idea of preserving the body, wrapping it in resins and preparing it for the afterlife was a way to imitate the Banu's rebirth, with the hope that the soul too might rise again. Over time, the Banu's image evolved, blending with other symbols of immortality, like the scarab beetle and the lotus flower. Together, these images created a powerful motif that promised Egyptians a way to transcend death, just as the Banu did each time it rose. In fact, some Egyptian texts even call the Banu the soul of Ra and the heart of Osiris, linking it to the two most important gods of creation and the afterlife. You see, to the Egyptians, the Banu bird was a promise of eternity, a divine reassurance that from death life would always rise anew. And the phoenix doesn't stop there. The Greeks embraced it, transforming it into a symbol of resilience, almost a mystical creature that thrived in isolation. They envisioned the phoenix as a rare bird of unmatched beauty, living alone in the vast expanse of the Arabian deserts, removed from the mundane struggles of everyday life. And yet this magnificent creature was not immune to time. Every 500 years, as the myth goes, the phoenix would sense the end approaching, as if something deep within it stirred, knowing it was time. But the phoenix wouldn't just fade away. It would begin gathering fragments of myrrh, spices and precious wood, meticulously constructing its final resting place, pyre, unlike any other fragrant, with the perfume of death and rebirth. And then, in a single act of defiance against mortality, the phoenix would set itself aflame, becoming a brilliant fiery display against the desert sky, a final breathtaking farewell. From the ashes of its own making, a new phoenix would rise, young, unscathed and untouched by the memory of its previous life. Yet here's where the mystery deepens. For generations the Greeks wondered, was this bird truly reborn, or was it a new phoenix, a mere offspring carrying only the memory of its ancestors' legacy? The phoenix always returned, but was it the same creature? Or was it a symbol of something beyond individual identity, a kind of immortality not in body but in spirit? In this way, the phoenix became not just a symbol of life beyond death, but an endless legacy, a reminder that something could withstand time itself, even if it wasn't quite the same. This question of whether the phoenix was reborn or merely replaced by a new life carrying the same essence became part of the myth's allure. What is a creature trapped in an eternal loop forever, destined to burn and rise? Or was each gift phoenix something entirely new, gifted with the life of its predecessor but not the weight of its memories? It's this mystery, this cycle of fire and renewal that kept Greeks wondering, and keeps us wondering even now. When the Romans encountered the story of the phoenix, they were captivated. Here was a creature that burned only to rise again, something that embodied endurance and defied destruction. To the Romans, the phoenix became a symbol of their empire, an image of strength, of persistence against all odds. And so they made it immortal in their own way, emblazing its image on their coins, as if to say that Rome, like the phoenix, would never truly fall. These coins didn't just circulate as currency, they became a propaganda of sorts, a constant reminder that the Roman Empire was, in their eyes, unbreakable, eternal. And for centuries this symbol of the phoenix was used to reassure people that Rome would endure, that even if parts of it fell, new life would emerge from the ruins. The phoenix was stamped onto coins, used on military standards and inscribed on public monuments, each one proclaiming that the empire's eternal nature, a promise that Rome would stand forever. But here's the twist. Romans clung to that image of the phoenix, believing that it captured the soul of their empire, its resilience and unbreakable spirit. Yet, just as the phoenix must eventually burn to be reborn, so too would Rome. It would face its own fires. The empire began to splinter, battered by internal decay and external pressures, and soon the great city itself, it fell into ruin. So, like the phoenix's pyre, Rome was consumed by its own flame, an empire once thought to be eternal, now nothing but ashes. And yet, even in its downfall, Rome's legacy persisted. Out of the ashes rose something new, the Eastern Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, and kingdoms all claiming to be its successors. In the end, maybe Rome did live on, not in the bricks and mortar of its cities or the might of its armies, but in the legacy it passed on, reborn in other forms. So, like the phoenix, Rome may have burned, but its spirit proved far more difficult to extinguish. But here's a story that doesn't end with fire and ashes. In the East, the Chinese told of a creature called the Feng Huang. A phoenix in its own right, I suppose, but a phoenix of an entirely different nature. The Feng Huang wasn't bound to flames or cycles of destruction and rebirth. Instead, it was a creature of balance, representing harmony between opposing forces. Unlike the fiery death and rebirth of the Western phoenix, the Feng Huang embodied the union of yin and yang, symbolising peace, wisdom and prosperity. A cosmic guardian of sorts who only appeared in times of great harmony. The Feng Huang's image is often paired with the Chinese dragon, representing harmonious balance between feminine and masculine energies. Together they symbolise the unity needed for prosperity and a well-ordered world. In art and folklore, the Feng Huang's feathers were said to contain all 5 fundamental colours of Chinese cosmology: black, white, red, yellow and green. Each colour represented an element: water, metal, fire, earth and wood, perfectly balanced in one creature, an embodiment of the universe's equilibrium. Chinese legend tells us that the Feng Huang would hover in the sky, overseeing the world, a benevolent force of protection. Unlike the phoenix, which needed to be reborn to live on, the Feng Huangs didn't seem to defy death at all. It existed beyond the circle of birth and death, embodying the ideals that transcended the individual and spoke to a larger harmony in nature. It didn't need fire because, in essence, it represented life, that flowed in unity with natural order. In some versions of the myth, the Feng Huang would only reveal itself to emperors who ruled with compassion and wisdom, signalling the divine approval of their reign. To see the Feng Huang was an omen of flourishing times, a sign that the land was in balance and at peace. Where the phoenix's story speaks of resilience through destruction, the Feng Huang offers a different lesson, that only nurturing peace and maintaining harmony, preserving the world rather than being reborn into it. And the Feng Huang wasn't alone in its celestial dance. Across the vast expanse of Russia soared a fiery bird, known as the Tsar Ptitsa, or the Firebird. This enchanting creature was not just any bird. Its feathers glowed like embers, shimmering with the promise of magic and mystery. In Slavic folklore, encountering a single feather from the Firebird was considered both a blessing and a curse. It marked the beginning of an epic journey, one filled with peril and wonder, where the hero often found themselves chasing a vision of beauty that was tantalisingly out of reach. Legends tell us of the pursuit of the Firebird was to embark on a quest fraught with challenges, testing the hero's courage and resolve. The bird, elusive and mischievous, would lead its pursuer deeper into the woods, through the realms of enchantment, only to vanish when capture seemed close at hand. This chase was symbolic of the light humans strive for, those dreams and aspirations that seem so close, yet remain just out of our grasp. In many tales, the Firebird served as a catalyst for transformation. Heroes who sought it often found themselves learning valuable lessons along the way, whether it was the importance of humility, the value of companionship, or the realization that true treasure lay not in the possession, but built in the journey itself. The Firebird tantalised with its glow, representing ideals of beauty, freedom, and unattainable aspirations, a constant reminder that while we may be close to our dreams, the true essence of life is often found in the pursuit itself. Yet the Firebird was also a guardian of the realm, representing the delicate balance of nature. You see, in times of danger it would appear to warn the heroes of impending doom, a flicker of hope in the shadows. Its presence signified the connection to the divine, a reminder that while we may strive for greatness, we must also honour the natural world around us. The Zarpitsa thus became a symbol of the intricate dance between ambition and nature, illuminating the paths we chose while reminding us that the light that guides us, even when it seems forever out of reach. And across the oceans in the vast land of North America there soared the Thunderbird. This mighty creature was revered as a powerful protector, a force of nature that brought storms and nourished the earth, embodying both creation and destruction. For the Algonquin and the many other indigenous cultures, the Thunderbird was much more than a mere legend. It was a guide and a mystery, a creature that could bring life through its rains and bountiful harvests. With a single flap of its wings, it could also unleash thunderstorms that marked the end of life. The Thunderbird was said to be a colossal bird that soared the skies, its wings creating thunder as they flapped and its eyes flashing like lightning. In various narratives, it was depicted as a guardian spirit that watched over people, symbolising strength and the raw power of nature. Its presence in the sky was a reminder of nature's untenable cycles. Much like the phoenix, it existed beyond the mortal realm, embodying the duality of life and death. In many stories, the Thunderbird was not just a harbinger of storms. It was also a protector of the vulnerable. It would intervene in battles, fighting on behalf of the oppressed, and its call was thought to signal the arrival of a great change. This reverence was deeply entwined with the spiritual beliefs of indigenous cultures, where the Thunderbird was often seen as a messenger of the Creator, bridging the human realm and the divine. The stories of the Thunderbird were passed down through generations, evolving with each telling, yet they consistently emphasised a vital role in the natural world. This majestic bird was a reminder of the interconnectedness of life, a symbol of nature's power to both create and destroy. It was a potent emblem of balance, embodying the idea that to thrive, one must respect and coexist with the forces of nature, which are unpredictable as they are essential. In the end, the Thunderbird, like the phoenix, serves as a profound reminder of life's cynical nature, the ebb and flow of existence. It encapsulates the mystery of the cosmos, teaching us that from every storm comes a chance for rebirth and renewal, and that true power lies in harmony of all living things. Isn't it interesting, from Egypt to Greece, from China to Russia, and to the Americas, we find ourselves drawn to this idea of rebirth, a motif that speaks to the cynical nature of life and death and something that rises beyond it. It's as if every culture has felt the need for a symbol, a creature that burns, that dies, and that rises again. The allure of the phoenix transcends borders of time, echoing a collective human desire for renewal. Perhaps this universal connection is a testament to our shared experience of loss and hope. But that leaves us with a question. Are we drawn to the phoenix because it's immortal, a creature that defies death, or do we cling to it because in our own way we hope to be reborn? Perhaps we're all a bit like the phoenix, always waiting for the flames that will turn us to ash, longing for the transformative moment when something new will rise from the remnants of what once was. This yearning for renewal resonates deeply within us. We want to believe that after every ending there is a possibility for a new beginning. As we navigate the complexities of our lives, we might find ourselves identifying with the struggles of the phoenix. Each of us experiences our own cycles of hardship, despair, and eventual rebirth. Maybe it's in this recognition of the myth of the phoenix becomes a powerful metaphor for our human experience, We are in essence seekers of transformation, searching for those fiery moments that will not only change us but also allow us to renew and arise, even stronger than before. The stories remind us that while we may face trials, there is always a potential for renewal. It encourages us to embrace the idea that our past, our struggles, and our ashes do not define us. Instead, they can be the very catalyst of our next great adventure. So the next time you find yourself at a position of crossroads in your life, remember the phoenix. Like it, you have the power to rise from your own ashes and soar higher than ever before. Thanks for joining us today on Podcast Folklore, where legends never died, they're always resurrected. Until next time, remember there's always a bit of fire in every story, just waiting to ignite. And as always, continue to explore the world with wonder.